Well, all right, here we go. The news and you, a prepper perspective for February 3rd. Tariff tantrums. Well, I know there's been a lot in the news lately about all the tariffs uh, back and forth now between specifically the US and Canada and Mexico soon. We'll just chat briefly about it. Shock and disbelief. That was, initially on Saturday when it came out. Everyone couldn't believe this could happen. We won't be able to compete. We'll have to rethink our plans. Shock and disbelief is right. This was talked about from President Trump a while ago, and if people didn't start planning for it, if they hadn't been planning already for something like this, if you're in business and you're not planning for tariffs, if a change in the tariffs as a possible scenario, you should maybe not be in that business because you're not doing your due diligence. I'm shocked and in disbelief that someone could not plan for this. Mitigation, what do you do for it? Well, diversify your customers, diversify your suppliers, get and stay financially sound, put yourself in a good position, buy locally. Build your local capacity. These do scenario analysis. This should be one that you look at when you're thinking what could happen. An interest rate change, could be tariffs, could be a loss of a key supplier, um, change in customer demographics, things like that. I was just watching Mad Men the other night, and when they broke out, and spoiler alert, when they broke out and created their new agency, and they said that their one client was now over 70% of their revenue, and they said this is untenable. We have to diversify. Yes, you do. If you're going to sole source or single source something, um, either on your buyer or seller side, your customers, your supply chain, things like that, you're just looking for trouble. This should be our wake up call, unless of course we do what we usually do and hit snooze. We should be thanking President Trump for this. It's a bit of tough love for us to hopefully take some action to put ourselves in a better place going forward. We need to develop more trading partners, and the infrastructure to do that. Not just the trading partners. Yeah, it's good to sign deals, but if everything, for example, has to go through the states or go through somewhere else that we don't have control over, that's a problem. So we have to not only develop the trading relationships, but we have to have the infrastructure to do that. Encourage buying locally. Pulling a lot of things off the shelves now to kind of hit back, great. But we should be encouraging our local businesses and building that strength and capacity here. And again, that leads into build capacity in Canada. We should be able to, refine, manufacture, all of those things here because we have the raw inputs that we need, the raw resources, the material. And then we're less reliant on others. And we create more jobs and better conditions and employment opportunities for people here. And again, the infrastructure with that. So I'm in Alberta, and to me, it would make a lot of sense. And I know it's been talked about apparently for a long, 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 long time, is that high speed rail between, Calgary through Red Deer up to Edmonton. That would give us back a bit more of that Alberta advantage and draw people to Alberta and promote business and better quality of life, that network of transportation. And we should enhance our border security and our military. This should have not taken a slap in the face like this for us to wake up and realize this. These are things we should have been doing already. We're negligent and behind on our military commitments, and the border security is probably as bad as they say. Now, I don't know why everyone's so fascinated on using the term border czar. Just put have someone in charge of it. You don't have to use. Yeah, I know it's the cool thing to say now. Everyone's calling it their border czar. Okay, Thanks, comrade. But yeah, we should be doing those things anyways. We should be looking and not need this. So let's not hit the snooze button. There's a lot, the last little bit on DeepSeek, Red Note, the Internet of Things. With DeepSeek, they were talking about common jailbreak attacks were completely successful against it. And I suppose, yeah, if it's less a less expensive version, maybe you cut corners somewhere. I'm not sold on any of that AI stuff, and any of the platforms, whether it's using Gemini. Um, I haven't even used very many of these things, the Chat GPT, and the ones I have seen, not overly. I mean, they give you a rough summation, but lots of flaws in them. The material that I've read from them does not instill confidence at this stage for me. The flight from TikTok to RedNote or other apps will open up even more risks. I suspect those alternative platforms that everyone who is totally fixated on being online all the time um, are fleeing to are even less secure. And reliance and expansion of the Internet of Things and connectiveness will hasten our downfall. There was an article um, about some wireless speakers and how everything's connected. And now, we've seen it before with other things. One bad update or patch or fix or something that gets pushed out without either enough change management or quality control, or whether it's been purposely contaminated or corrupted, just breaks everything. And there's no or very little capacity to fall back on something else. Too reliant on new technology. Even at my place here, I've got a heat pump, and it's minus. I think it was minus 31 degrees Celsius this morning here, and it's struggling to keep it even remotely warm inside the house. So yay, let's light the fire, right? Turn on the fireplace and get some wood heat. That's not going to fail me. So just some things to think about. Mitigation on these things is, yeah, it embrace I guess, the good parts of the technology, but have those backups, have the contingencies. Do, again, back to that talk earlier in the video here about your exercise or scenario analysis, your planning. What would happen if this goes down? I've talked to some companies where they say, well, it's not going to happen. We don't even plan for that. That Google would go down or the internet would be down for more than a short while. Well, I can think of lots of things that would cause it to go down for more than a short while. And again, that's not good planning. You're being negligent and not doing proper risk management if you're not running those scenarios and planning for it. It might be difficult. It might be expensive. You might not want to do some of these things, but you have to if you want to stay viable. Medical equipment malware. Another one, again, on the connectiveness of things. This one was on medical monitors, sending information reportedly back to China. And it had a backdoor, not only sending patient information back, but it had a backdoor that would allow malware and executable code to be installed. Mitigation might be tougher around some of these things, but be wary, be suspicious. Doesn't mean you're a bad person to be suspicious or do some really good due diligence on where is this coming from? What's the company's reputation? Have there been reports on this? Are there other alternative products that you could get that maybe are safer or haven't had this kind of news about them? Just more things to be worried about. And if you, again, have some old backup stuff around that you can at least take care of patients if some of this stuff fails. If I was watching, there was again a couple of, not a couple, lots and lots of shows on this Geostorm. Just watched that on how some glitches and some little things. Everything they got in every vehicle almost, and their phones and all that stuff just seemed to be able to quickly be taken over and controlled by that type of stuff. So there's lots and lots of reasons to have the backups, even your phone. Go in today. If that's the one thing you do today, go in, look at your key contacts, and write the phone numbers down. So if your fingerprint sensor, your face unlock, your phone stops working, at least you have the numbers. At least do that. That's an easy step. That's it. That's all. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon. Like and subscribe. All right, here we go. The news in you, a prepper's perspective for what's in the news and how you can use it to prepare. This is for February 9th. Not learning our lessons. There was a number of articles I've been reading in different industries, businesses, etc., about how we're still not learning lessons. The first article to talk about was how 60% of cyber breaches were against or due to known vulnerabilities. And this is a matter of, the cyber teams either not having the resources, whether that's time, money, staff, whatever, or the ability or the desire or the will to close these vulnerabilities to prevent further breaches. The bad guys aren't going to need all this super AI and fancy attack vectors if they can just keep repeating the same old known ones. And this, I've seen this myself where I've seen reviews of IT departments of their exercises and of audit findings and things like that. And year after year, it's repeat findings. You exercise, you test, you do your probes, and it's still the same vulnerabilities are there. We're not learning the lesson. Another article was on how the Liberal candidates are promising to fix the military procurement issues, which was also promised in 2015 and in 2019. So again, we're identifying that there's these issues, something that needs attention, needs to be fixed, and we're not doing anything about it. Very, very common, unless you take this diligently and do good debriefs, capture your action items, assign them, put due dates on them, and then track them to completion. It's no good, to keep making the same mistake again. The saying goes, it's okay to make mistakes, just don't make the same one twice. Wild Wednesday. This is a fun little tip I stumbled on a while ago, but you guys probably already know this. Each Wednesday, Cabela's has a number of products on sale for their Wild Wednesday sale. It's online. You can place your order, have it delivered to the store, pay the sale price for Wild Wednesday, and then go in and pick it up. And it rotates through. Sometimes it'll be, on all the stuff they carry, the clothing, ammunition, firearms, some of their preparedness food. You just, check it out every Wednesday. When you get up in the morning, have a look at the Wild Wednesday sale, see if there's anything that was on your list. You might save a few bucks. Pantry planning challenge. This was an interesting one on how a woman in the article each January does not go to the grocery store and instead makes meals from what is in her freezer and pantry. She said it saves money. She's not buying anything for that month. She's already purchased the food that she's using. Saves on waste, because quite often, you leave something in the freezer too long and it either won't be edible or you'll just refuse to eat it, even if it is still edible, or you won't be able to identify it and you'll end up tossing it. And it would also, make you aware of how long you can go with what you have in your pantry and your freezer. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea. Buy Canadian. And again, as everyone knows, lots of talk in the news about buying Canadian. This is great. I've been on this bandwagon for a while. We should be buying local. As preppers and as planners, we should be looking at, can we do this? And can we switch and choose products that are made in Canada or a product of Canada, which is better? Now, if something says made in Canada, it says that the definition of that is at least 51% of contents are Canadian, whereas a product of Canada, 98% of the contents at least are Canadian. One example, and I've made this switch myself, is I'll buy Rogers sugar instead of Redpath. You go into Walmart, for example, all of the sugar is Redpath. That's an American company. It's a private company. You can't even buy shares in it. It's not public. you could buy Rogers Sugar instead. They're, two of the big sugar companies, Rogers and Redpath. Why not support Canadian and buy Rogers Sugar? That's a very small thing to do. The prices are comparable, and we can support Canadian business. Buy locally. It's, the items with the tariffs and risk management and looking at that. We've basically, in and there's logistics and geographical reasons for it, but we've single sourced ourselves, uh, as Canadians. It's not sole source. We have other people we could sell to, but we have put the bulk of our sales into going to states. So of course, that can be very, very easily impacted, and we really have to look at diversification. So yeah, buy Canadian. You know, take a stance. And one, it'll make you more aware of what you're actually buying, if it's local or not. Read the packaging, read the labels, start to become aware of what's in what I'm eating and where does it come from. That's it. That's all. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.